friendships and a huge fear of failure. Huge fear of failure. I'm sure none of you have. None of you have, right? And you know, in my mind, nobody else did. I never believed anybody else did. I always thought this is me, right? No, nobody else feels this way. I'm the only one that has these kind of feelings. It's funny, isn't it, what we think? But during this time, I lost my ability to feel. I lost my ability to have empathy for others and the ability to form really true friendships. So I was a really lonely person. But when I was on my horses, I excelled and I felt good. But it was a way to hide. And when I went to college, I just continued that. I helped Chico State form the equestrian team, and we went all over the state competing because it was much more fun than studying. And I did manage to graduate with a 2.8 GPA, got out, and but my inner self was still, I felt like I was dying. I continued to bury any semblance of feeling alive deep inside of me. I put heavy locks on the door. My self-esteem was in shambles. I was literally petrified that people would figure out who I really was. But the ironic thing during this time, I had no idea who I really was. I had put on so many masks and believed so many lies that there's no way I knew who I really was. You know, who was I? And I was wearing so many masks. I was so very good at convincing myself that the things didn't hurt and what other people thought didn't matter. And in my career life, it was very similar. I was very successful in my career life. I rose to the top of the corporations. You know, I did all these things. I worked for nonprofit organizations. I did grant writing. I did all sorts of things. So I was a master hat putter or a mask putter. I put this hat on over here. I'm this person. I put this hat on over here. I'm this person. I put this hat on over here, and I'm this person. And you know that worked really great, but I was still petrified all the time. Whatever hat I was wearing, that somebody would see inside of me that I was a fake. That's because that's what I believed. I believed that I was a fake. And so I was still showing at this time, showing and training horses all during this time. And I was excelling, so this really was who I was. Even though I was successful in all these other areas, my horses were what I was. That was my identity. I was a successful, award-winning equestrian and trainer. This was into my 30s now. And then my first real failure hit that I thought was a failure, my husband left me of 8 years for another woman. I had a 3-year-old daughter at the time. Turns out there was more than one woman. But I looked at that and I immediately moved into survival mode, what we often do. As we put that thing up, I don't care. It's okay. I immediately moved. I still had to sell my horses though. I had to sell my horses. How can I take care of a 3-year-old without my horses? So there went my identity, my perceived identity. I now identified as a divorced single mother. And I told myself I was a failure. Yuck. Did not like myself very much. But when I got over the tears, went back into survival mode, I did what Leslie's do best. I got mad, went back to school to prove I wasn't a failure, and got my master's degree, graduated magna cum laude with business management, which was pretty good since my undergraduate degree, as I said, was 2.8 because, I didn't study. I often think that maybe we shouldn't go to school till we're in our 30s, especially if we're ADHD. And we got a little life experience and we grow up a little bit, learn more about who we are. But I had something to prove, and that's how I proved it. I proved it by proving that I was successful at something. Not just because of who I was, who I am, and who God made me to be, because that's my success, is who God made me to be. And so after I came back from the World Trade Center coming down, I had the PTSD, I had the panic attacks. They were weird, they would just pop up anywhere. I couldn't control them. I had no idea where they came from. All I knew, I just couldn't do anything about them. And then, so I did the really smart thing to do. I quit my job and remarried. Yes, and I tell you, this was a rough way to begin a new marriage with all this baggage. And my husband is a saint. He's a saint. When I married my husband, he had an ADHD wife with all this self-confidence problems. He had an ADHD daughter, 9 years old. she liked him before I got married, and the next year she made life hell for him. She loves him now. He's a great father figure, and she's who he is to who she looks to for a godly man in life. And the man she picked is so much like my husband. It's not funny. She has a good relationship with her biological dad. I'm blessed with that. That was hard, very, very hard for me to do. And people would always ask me, how do you do that? I say, it's for Ashley. It's not for me. It's for Ashley. And a mantra, it's for Ashley. It's not for me. It's for Ashley. It's not for me. So, I had to go through a lot of that, and I have forgiven him and have forgiven me because it wasn't all his fault. Nothing's all one person's fault in most cases. In most cases, I can't say that, but it wasn't all his fault, But we also got a cat, a neurotic Springer Spaniel, and a hamster. So still going through my new marriage, with nothing to do other than drive my fourth grader to school was a huge distress for me. I had worked all my life. I had pushed my way through my life. I had made my own life. I. So again, instead of facing my inner demons, I started 2 home-based businesses. One is my health and wellness business, and I am also a professional wildlife photographer. I fell into that because my kids were actors, both of them. I don't know how that came out. They came out on their own. My daughter was an actor and my son is an actor. There's 11 years, 4 days between them. So I learned to do headshots because you have to do headshots every 6 months, and I didn't want to pay anybody for that. So I got really good at it. People started paying me for that. And so that business changed because it was so stressful for me because I didn't need to work. My husband was a great provider. Didn't need to work, but I had to because I needed to prove I was successful. And I liked photography. They paid me well, but it became so stressful that when I went into other areas of photographing people, I hated it because it was so hard for me to take pictures and say, are they gonna like it? What if they don't like it? Are they gonna say bad things about me? I was so stressed that I had to please the other people that I said, don't forget that. I'm not gonna do that. So I started taking pictures of wildlife because it was that's where my Zen was. Birds especially. And funny thing about that is God is good. All of a sudden people started paying me money for my bird photographs. Birds don't talk back to me. Birds don't care what they look like. They sometimes don't hold still for me when I photograph them, but that's okay. I just sit out there for days, and even if the weather's bad, I sit out there and I look at what God created and I say, man, that's great. It's so calming. And the person with ADHD who can sit in a bird blind still for 8 hours a day, that's the only place I can sit still, is in a bird blind photographing. So it's my Zen. So I also did the Young Living business, which really was my salvation. But I do things 0 to 60. How much time do I have?
I have no idea. What time is it?
I should be
about 5 minutes.
I have 5 minutes. Okay, well then I better hurry up. Okay, so I do things 0 to 60. Many of you do. But I realized that my insecure behavior was causing me to do something I never wanted to do. I was neglecting my spirituality. I was neglecting my husband. I was neglecting my children. I was neglecting my home just to make myself look good. And they were suffering. So I said, this got to stop. It's all wrong. So, had a heart with God and said, how do we need to do this? So my life began to change through my health and wellness business. We have I also have worked with professionals familiar with PTSD, anxiety, and ADHD to help me figure out how to rein those things in. It encouraged me. I had my first spiritual mentor from church, which was fantastic. And so I was allowed to open up to her in a safe environment. And I had mentors and accountability partners in every single part of my life. Spiritual, mental, business, life skills. And without these mentors, I would still be the personal wreck I was back in my late 30s. And so working with Burl, my spiritual mentor, I could tell her things, and it was amazing. I expected her to be shocked, and she wasn't shocked. I was amazed because she had been in some of the places I had been, and she had walked safely through it, gone to the other side, and was able to help me see that there wasn't anything wrong with me. This is all normal. So I also began to, I opened up to my husband and myself, which was hugely scary. I started to take the masks off, one after one, and the feelings came out left and right and in really odd places. And I had to deal with those, which was a really hard thing for me to do. And if it wasn't for my mentors and accountability partners and the friends that I finally let into my life, I probably would have had a nervous breakdown. But my health and wellness program, the leaders of large teams, we have a book club, which is really fun. So many of the books we read are by like John Maxwell and Darren Hardy, and as well as about our businesses and our products and things like that. So we have very different things. But one of my favorites is Darren Hardy. It's a Darren Daily. It comes in your email, and it's just it's a copy in the morning, 3 to 5 minutes. I listen to it every morning at breakfast with my son, because I'm hoping to get him to where I am now sooner. And I've been pretty successful with that with my daughter. She has her own demons to fight, but she's about 10 years ahead of me than I was in my personal life journey, and I just think that's fantastic. I've attended conferences and learning development, personal development, all that stuff, but there was a missing link. And I finally realized and accepted that life was not meant to be a solo adventure. We were designed to be a community. We had to work together to grow, so I added more mentors. How many of you have had ideas or goals or things you wanted to implement in your life, but you're afraid to say anything about it? Because if you do, and you don't do it, you're gonna look stupid, right? Or you fail at it, right? So I do that all the time. I have all these ideas, and I don't want to tell anybody. So I finally said, I'm gonna get brave. I had one goal I wanted. So I called my friend Ashley in Texas and said, I want this goal, and it said, take me 6 weeks to do it. Every day at noon for 6 weeks, she texted me and asked me, how are you doing on that? What'd you learn? I lived in terror that I wouldn't have anything to give her at noon, that goal went whoop to the top of the list. There's a valuable point for an accountability partner. Someone you feel safe with, please. We all know that there's toxic people out there. We stay away from them. We stay away from them. We find safe people that we trust. That was something that I learned very early on, because that was toxic people caused me to be insecure. Yes. And so I've learned to stay away from them and surround me with other people. And so let's see, I'm going to skip some of this stuff because habit. I have a mentoring partner in my business. She's one of my top leaders. She also happens to be a life coach. So we work with each other. Every Monday we watch our business meeting online, and then we talk to each other via Facebook chat, because if we were to meet for coffee, my ADHD brain would go on for 3 hours and it would be very ineffective. So we keep it to a very short time. We talk about the talk, what we learned, and what we want to implement in our business, and then we say, okay, last week you said you were going to do X, Y, Z. What did you do? Did you do X, Y, or Z? How did it go? And that's how that goes. So there's an example of a good business mentoring partner. Those of you who are in the loop could probably do the exact same thing, because you probably have online trainings, and it works really well. I also use, and we have life coaches here. Amazing. I mean, they are wonderful for helping you focus your goals. I have seen many people's lives change who are scattered and need help to just put it all together to see their vision, to help make their vision, and they help them grow. And successful relationships involve mentoring and accountability partner relationships involve all the same aspects of a good healthy friendship and a healthy marriage. They mutual respect, openness, responsibility, truth, appreciation, and mutual benefit. A good mentor does not dictate, but instead listens to you regarding your goals and interests, offers feedback, perspectives, suggestions for you to consider, and provides encouragement. And if that's not happening, you need to find somebody different, because not everybody works with everybody else, because personalities are also different. Although I think we're all very much alike in here. This is great. I love it. And I really believe that behind every successful person stands many mentors, advocates, and friends. Like in any relationship, there needs to be the right balance to find the right person. I've done so many, I could go on forever, so I'm going to have to, we don't need to know about the guy that went from 1 to 60 rabbits overnight. Yes, I go to 1 to 60 see all the time. One of the things that I'm still looking for ways to look good. You know, yes, I went from 0 to 60 showing rabbits, and I found people that were winning, and I went to them and I picked their brains, and pretty soon I was beating them, and these nice people were cheering me on. It was amazing. I was like, you're what? I'm beating you. You're cheering me on. You know, that's not the experience I've ever had before. And now I'm mentoring. I don't breed rabbits because it took too much away from my family anymore, and the other wonderful things that are more important. But I still mentor breeders throughout the country to do the same thing, and I think that's so much fun. So I have made some new friends through that, so that's really great. In my business, I personally mentored and I mentor. This is the same for my other business as a professional wildlife photographer. I have mentors who I go to, and I also mentor others who are fun. And one of my favorite books is by John Maxwell, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Many of you have probably read it. It talks about the law of the lid, where you need to surround yourself with people to mentor you who are ahead of you. So if you have a goal or a habit or whatever, then you're a 5. Find 6, 7s, and 8s and learn from them. And while you're at it, talk to the 2s and 3s to cement where you are. And then when you get to be a 7, then you pick the 8s, 9s, and 10s. And then go back here and look at those that are behind you and bring them along. So that it's a constantly evolving process till people get to 10, and then you've mastered that, and you start all over with a new one. I love that. I love John Maxwell. He's perfect. Well, he's not perfect. We all know that. But we all know that you can't raise your lid by yourself. You have to have those people to help you raise your lid. If you try to raise your lid by yourself, you're just going to hit your head and get a concussion. I did that in the barn a couple weeks ago. I had staples on my head.
Yeah.
I raise goats and sheep now.
Just can't do without animals.
I just can't stop. So much of this will follow in your life season and will look very different for everyone who's trying to master it. Select your mentors carefully. My self-confidence was derailed by other children whose lives I believed, and in some cases other adults, other toxic people. Just watch out for that. Don't believe the lies. Don't believe the lies. And I have friends like Cherise, who when I download to her, she'll sit back to me and say, I don't think you have that right, Leslie. I think you're looking at that wrong. And the funny thing is, she is exactly like my husband. All right? Now, if he told me that, I'd hit the fan. When Cherise tells me that out of love, I stop and I say, You know, my husband's fantastic, and we dream and we grow together. But you don't pick your husband as a big partner. That's just a recipe for disaster. Because you'll get mad at him, and you might not get mad at your Yoda. Or if you do get mad at your Yoda will wait till you calm down, and then that sort of thing. So, one of the most interesting things I found right now that and I'll close with this because I know we're running out of time. Is I have I read this was part of our reading list. It's an Enneagram. Are anybody familiar with the Enneagram personality? I've been through so many personality studies. It's probably all you have. I'm red. I'm a lion. I'm a ruby. I've forgotten my Myers-Briggs ages ago. But this is probably the Enneagram is really the most interesting thing I've ever seen. It has 9 personality types, and it teaches you that when you're healthy, how you react, and when you're unhealthy, how you react, and when you're average and how you react. So I read this book. It's really great. I found my husband. I found all my friends. I found my mentors. And when I was trying to find me, I found out I had multiple personality disorder. Okay? Because you know what? Who's the hardest person to look at?
Yeah.
Right? So what I've done is I've given this book. I sent it, drop shipped it to people who know me very well. And I said, please read this book and let's discuss it together, because I know I don't have personality disorder. I know I don't. And my life has been a journey to figure out who I am, and I know I have, the masks have come off, and I'm really liking what I'm seeing. I'm seeing the little girl who used to spin around on the grass so much and fall down and dizzy and just laugh hysterically, which is great because I sometimes get vertigo, and I'm not one of those that get sick, which is great. I don't know why I'm being dizzy. But I'm also a little girl who would who would climb the highest, biggest tree just because it was a challenge. I'm also the little girl who would sit at a pond and marvel in all the life that God put in that pond. And catch the pollywogs and bring them home. And my poor parents would have little frogs hopping around the house all the time. So I'm learning to be, from my life experiences, I'm learning to let the child out. Say, I'm not perfect. There's everybody I'm around has a lot of the same fears that I do. And that I can pick people to help me, and I can help people. Because I have been through a lot between, divorce and being a career woman, bringing a single career mom, learning about my ADHD and my personality, raising 2 kids with ADHD. I have a lot to offer other people in stages of life. And I hope that I can continue to do that, as well as continue to glean for people who are beyond me. And I can glean from Stephanie, who's again half my age, and she has helped me in some things.
I have?
Absolutely. Yes.
Awesome!
And I'm so blessed that God has brought people like Stephanie into my life to help me on my journey. It's a lifelong journey, and we're all going to need it. We're all going to be insecure at times in our life. And if we have those people that we can go to, and even know how stupid you might feel, and say, I feel like this, and they'll say, yeah, I've been there. I felt like that before. It's natural. It's okay.
Yeah.
That's why we need mentors in our life. That's why we need accountability partners. That's why we need close friends we can touch, trust. And that's why we need, sometimes we need personal coaches when we get stuck. We need life coaches when we get stuck. When you get stuck, don't stay there. Find somebody who can get you unstuck.
Love it.
And I think I'll stop there because Stephanie's doing this.
Thank you. Great job.